I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the moms, especially my own. Let's get going. I've been at the Black Country Blokes chewing the fat about everything that is mental health, disability and life in general. Here with me, Kev Dillon, and my partner in crime, Lee Cadman. And today we're going to be talking about 5 tips to help you have better mental health. Now, this is something we're obviously working on ourselves, and we've been doing this most of my adult life and picking up tips and tricks. And by having on the wonderful guests we've had has really helped me and you to find new ways of doing it. Because how many times we learn this in boxing, in our careers, just because you've done something for 100 years doesn't mean you've got to continue doing it for 100 years. As human beings, we should always be learning on new ways to make things better. And if we can't make ourselves better, then how are we going to make anyone else better?
And also, if anyone else out there who is listening has got any tips, just drop a comment in. And because, the more tips that people have, the more chance they have of getting better and improving their own mental health. So drop a comment, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it is, and we'll read that out as well.
And one thing isn't necessarily going to work for everyone, and that's the beauty of it, because we are individuals. One diet doesn't suit everyone, one exercise doesn't suit everyone, one hobby doesn't suit anyone. So more options we have, more strings to the bow that we have, easier life can be. And my first one is something that I'm always practicing now, is gratitude. And that's how we've been starting a lot of our shows, with things that we're grateful for. And I find myself, when I'm getting irate about someone who's done me head in, or an opportunity that hasn't gone my way, is reminding me of the things that I have got in my life, the things that I'm grateful for, my loved ones, my health, my home, my club, all these things. And as we keep saying, it's all these many little things that allows us to have a rich life. And I think so many times we focus on the things that we haven't got instead of reminding ourselves the things that we do have.
So, Kev, what are you grateful for this week?
Well, we've we're a part of Black Country Extra, where we go live every Thursday 7 till 9. This week we've got Marcus Leonard on, brilliant, good friend of ours, has been on the podcast many times. But on the 10th of February, we're going live on their main stage. So one opportunity that is. I mean, that's brilliant. We've already done one show on the main stage before, but here we go again, round 2, and hopefully it becomes more of a permanent thing. Also, I'm grateful for 2 of my lads are in the national pre-quarters, William Wilson and Osman Mohammed. So the podcast, the radio, the boxing, the things that I'm passionate about are doing well. And that's remarkable. And it just shows, yes, in life we need luck. We need a bit of luck to get our foot in the door. But what we need as well as luck is hard work. Because harder you work at things, more opportunities do come up. How about you?
Actually, you're mentioning luck there. I'm grateful for the bit, these little nuggets of good luck you get every now and again.
I've heard of them.
Every now and again, you just think. I made a phone call on yesterday, day before, to my daughter's surgeon secretary about some surgeries he's got coming up, and I made this phone call to inquire, where we are on the list, and as I said, look, if there's any cancellations, anything, just get us in. And she said, well, actually, we've got a cancellation for next Monday, so you're booked in. And I just think sometimes that dropped out that day as well, that morning. I think sometimes there's it's funny how it works. Just I managed to phone up at the exact right time. I thought that bit of luck sometimes just goes your way and just makes life a bit easier. So thankful for good luck.
Sometimes the universe smiles on you. Other times it's completely the opposite. But one thing, without pinching one of yours, is how we perceive the world. Is that your number one? I'd have to say,
it is now, Kev.
It's the one thing. Whenever I think of you and this mental health journey that we go on, that's the one thing you're always preaching at me. About how we perceive.
So it's never really the circumstance that you're in. It's how you deal with that circumstance. And over probably the last 7-8 years, that's really clicked with me. That okay, look, ultimately in your life, things are going to happen that you have no control over, good or bad. But the one thing you do have control over is the way you handle those things. So do you let these things upset you? Do you let them get you down? Do you let it get on top of you? And a lot of that, yeah, there's I think sometimes there is things in your life that are really going to upset you, but you have to stop yourself and go, you know what, I'm going to be upset, but I'm not going to wallow over this for the next 2 months, because that's no good for anyone. So I'm going to I'm going to be upset. I'm going to have a day where I feel a bit off, but then I'm back on it. And just changing your mindset to a more positive one, and looking at the positive within those situations as well, and making yourself do it. Literally make yourself do it. Stop and go, okay, this has happened, this is crap, but what can I do? I can't do anything about it, so what can I take away from it that is a positive?
I think it is, like, because we all have this, like, someone puts something on Facebook or someone says a snotty comment, and we can drive ourselves insane. However, how is it making me better? And you said something in one of our support groups ages ago. What good has ever come from losing your temper, or when you rage out? And it's our go-to. He has said something or she has said something, and the way I deal with it is by freaking out, losing my temper, because I lose my temper because they've embarrassed me, they have devalued me. So I go to like an angry child, rah, 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 because we think that's going to keep us safe. But often, if you look back at your own lives, how many arguments, fights, and altercations you've had, have any of them actually made you feel better? You know what I mean? All it's done is caused you further dramas, further hiccups, and probably ended relationships.
That's right. Actually, Steve's just asked a question. I'll just bring this up.
Steve Ansel.
Steve Ansel.
You're right, bruv.
So Steve asked, oh, sorry, we've got new software here, and it actually takes it off my screen. I have to dodge around the camera. So what do you guys do to help you let go? This is something I struggle with. Something silly can happen, and it affects me for days, sometimes weeks.
You're preaching to the choir here, Ansel. I found myself like that. Someone will wind me up, and you have this sense of grandeur. How dare they do this? And because we're perceiving it on our experience, and they are doing it on theirs. Some people say things without considering other people's feelings. Remember that old saying, if you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. People don't do that anymore. People just throw around these horrible words and saying it because they're more important than anyone else. And sometimes you have to remind yourself, maybe they haven't got your morals, your pride, your self-belonging. They are going on their own moral compass, and often our moral compasses spin at different times, different places, and what they think acceptable, we won't. And I think what Lee has said there is how we perceive it. Someone has only got the power if we allow them to have the power. And a lot of these people who say these things, they don't really matter. They are nobodies. They are, they're insignificant. They will never achieve. And all they are achieving to do is by dampen your mood. And it's reminding yourself, does so-and-so matter? No, he does. No, my wife does. No, my mum and dad. And it's reminding ourselves of who we're grateful for. And if I never see that plonker again, maybe I'll be grateful of that. You don't need those people in your lives. And then I think it's focusing that energy, instead of focusing on negative, is focusing on something that I do enjoy doing.
I think it's also a bit of getting to the root of the cause, because let's say you're pissed off that someone's cut you up, someone swore at you, someone's done something to you. Why are you getting that pissed off at that person? Is it to do with that person, or is it actually you've had a crap day for whatever reason? It's to do with that, and separating the two things, because even like I spoke about it, I try and do this. It doesn't work all the time for myself, and and usually it is because maybe I haven't slept the night before, so I'm a bit more edgy. Maybe I've just done a really hard training session, I'm a bit achy, and I'm thinking, and then I'm having a go at this person who's cut me off and going, oh, hold up. Is it to do with that? Probably not. It's because I'm tired.
Sometimes your emotional bucket as well, if we're not careful, is always a tipping point. And that extra drop just tips it over, and that emotion has got to go somewhere, and it offers splashes on someone who doesn't necessarily need it. Sometimes they do need it, it's right to the right person, but sometimes, as you say, it's that person who just cut you up or stepped on your shoe or hasn't said hello, and you take it out on them. So, as we say, you've got to release the valve or pour some away before it overflows, if that helps. The other thing I was going to say, my number two thing, if you say 5 each, roughly, because as you know us, we never do anything properly, is what we watch. And I find sometimes by watching the news, and I've never really been a big fan of watching the news and papers and all this, but I found through lockdown, I wanted to stay in the loop. I want to stay in the loop and, oh my goodness, 10 people have died today. Oh my God, 1 million people have died today. And I found myself watching it at least once a day. And not one day did I feel better by watching it, because it was rape, paedophilia, death, murder, sadness. And I was thinking, we need to have light. We need to hear of that lovely person who did this and that lovely woman who takes time, and we need to hear more acts of kindness, random acts of kindness, not people who are trying to do kindness to have a scout badge to say how wonderful they are, but genuine nice people with nice stories that cheers you up. Because when you're just listening to doom and gloom, no wonder you're miserable.
My second, Kev. You give me the first. What's my second? See if you can guess.
Me.
Play the guessing game.
I'm the key to your
my instability. Funny enough, you're wrong, Kev. The laughing didn't give it away. So me, definitely exercise. And what I've realised, actually, because I've been coming back up the boxing club and training with other people for probably the last 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks now. And the training I've done previous to that for a good few years now has been on my own in a gym, and I've really enjoyed having other people around me while I train as well. I still like the time where I go to the gym and get my head down and just train on my own, but actually having other people around me to train has been real beneficial to my mental health and my training.
Well, look, what we started off in Martin, and we did the furlough club, which was a massive success, where we're getting people in, training. But now we've built on, because we really enjoyed our support group. But unfortunately, because we're in such a successful club, there's not enough hours in the day. So what we're doing, we've gone back to doing the Wednesday session, because to a lot of these people who can't come in the days, it is their form of therapy where they come and train. They have a boxing family. And because we're known as like the mental health guys now, they can openly come and talk. And because they're talking to me and Lee and the other coaches, you see them talking to each other. So we're going to we've rebranded it, and we're calling it Beatboxing, where we're going to beat obesity, we're going to beat depression, we're going to beat loneliness, beat anxiety, and we're going to get people to remind themselves what they are actually grateful for. So we're going to be doing every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, 10:30 to 11:30, where men and women can train together. And then twice a week where women can only train with women only. And that's 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock on a Wednesday and 11:30 to 12:30 on a Friday. So we're giving it because we want to get, when we started our journey, it was all on men's mental health, because we know the statistics, get my words out, of 18 people a day completing suicide. 75% of those are men. But then we forget the other 25% of those are women. And by going on this journey, we're seeing it from all angles, by having remarkable women, remarkable men, remarkable youngsters and elderly, and we're all going through the fight together. So this is what this day class has really helped. So we're getting physically fit, but we're getting mentally fit. And I think it's great by having these conversations. If you want to have a private conversation, we go outside, we come upstairs and we talk one-to-one. But for some of the smaller issues, you talk, and before you know, we're all talking. And that allows you to realise you're not the only person who's frightened of being a bad daddy, or who's frightened about being a bad mummy, or who's frightened about going to new situations, or being nervous about going to your jobs. And when you start stripping it right down and you realise it is bigger than us, and we are a part of something and we are not alone, then it becomes easier to deal with it. And I think that's what the club's been doing ever since it's been open, 21 years now. But now that it is known as being a mental health hub, it's opened the door even more, and you're having more people who come up as children or people who've never done it before and know it is a safe environment. It's really all coming together, and I'm so proud of what's happening.
I think it's also important for us to bring men and women together in the mental health talk, because a lot of mental health revolves about each. So if we can learn about each other and how each other's mind works, it's only going to be better for the future. And we found, so our men's support group was brilliant. Really enjoyed doing it, but we've got to learn to talk to women to improve our mental health as well, and about our mental health, and vice versa. Women have got to learn to talk to men and have confidence in that they can talk to men. So bringing it all together just makes sense.
And what better than exercise?
Yeah.
And we're not saying you've got to be in there sparring or just, even if you come and you get on the running machine or the walking machine and just doing something. But I think the great thing, and this brings on to my next thing, is a bit of routine. That bit of routine, and the reason why we set it up at 10:30 and 10 o'clock is so you haven't got to wake up at the crack of dawn and if you're thinking, oh God, I've slept in, and then I've done it those times so you can drop the kids at school, you can go home and get yourself changed, get up here. So it's that kind of thing. So it's not the crack of dawn, but you can start the day by doing something positive. And I think often, and Andy Plant talked about this, something as simple as getting up, making your bed, drawing the curtains, doing the washing up. So when you come back to the house, those jobs are already done. And it's what we're trying to do with the gym. Getting up, getting out the house, doing something positive, then hopefully the rest of your day carries on with that positivity, starting a day well. So I think that's my next thing, having routine and trying to start the day positive. What's your third thing?
Again, for me, reading. Without doubt, reading plays a big part in improving my mental health because it takes me away. It's similar to the exercise. When you're exercising, when you're training, you're not thinking about anything else that's going on. Everything's removed from your head but what you're doing, and reading very much does that for me. And that can be whether it's listening to an audio book or getting a physical book out. And I think there'll be a lot of people out there who have something similar. I know Steve Hansel, again, one of his is getting out on his motorbike. Because again, his full focus is being on the road and riding that motorbike, not on anything else that's going on around him. So I suppose I ought to change it to hobbies.
Well, as you said, like we were talking, one of the lads who come up to the beatboxing the other day, and he's saying like, because of this now he's got into podcasts and he's listening because like myself and so many of us out there, not strong readers, but that hasn't got to end your pursuit of knowledge anymore, has it? Because you have got audio books, YouTube videos, all these wonderful ways we can get the facts in. But I think like motorbike, being on the motorbike, driving, it's where sparring, exercise, running, tennis, whatever it is, you have to focus on the thing in front of you at that time. Because if I'm there thinking, oh dear, how about this, how about that, I can get struck, I can get hit, I can fall over. So sometimes it's just applying all of my thoughts on something, even if it's just for a short period of time. I thought you had a comment then.
No. I'll put it up there.
Yeah. That's it. And I think my fourth one is finding your tribe, as Craig could say, or community. And that's what I do love about this place. And I'm not just saying about my club. There's so many different clubs out there, and sports halls and youth clubs and whatever, sheds for men and all these different things. But finding people who are interested in your interests, where you can go and chew the fat with like-minded souls. And that can be the pub, that can be the youth club, that can be wherever, but finding like-minded souls where you can just share interests, talk about stuff, be it movies, music, whatever, and embracing just simply your interests. And however you communicate, it is good to communicate, because I think isolation is so bad for us. And I've found so many, even like introverted people, have missed people over the last couple of years. To find people who share your interests and just be you.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. I think the key there as well is what you're saying is talking to other people.
Mm.
Because if you're in a room full of people that you feel comfortable talking to, it makes a huge difference to your own mental health. People you have confidence in talking to. But maybe that ought to be mine. Forget that, Kev. That's mine. What's that for?
But that's the thing. I mean, and I'd rather have one good friend than 10 plastic friends. For those people out there, if you've got that one person who you can confide in, who you can talk to, that's brilliant, because you've got someone, then you've got a wall to lean on. You've got something. So it hasn't got to be a massive, vast amount of friends, and having someone to rely on, even if, as sad as it sounds, even if it's just like your dog, your cat, have something that gives you love. You know what I mean? And you can talk at.
I get more sense out of a cat than you, I think. Kev. I think that's what it is, yeah.
I'm sure my cat's just waiting for me to die. She keeps eyeing me up. It's like just waiting to eat my face. She's not just planning it. I see it in her docile green eyes, just plotting my demise.
Cats are lovely. Okay, my proper fourth is sleep. Or rest, should I say. So making sure you get enough rest. I'm the world worst for this one. But I also know now triggers my own mental health when I haven't rested right. I'm not thinking straight at all. And with what we're doing here, with looking after the daughter, with my other business, there's a lot going on. And if I'm not sleeping right for a certain amount of time, if not rested right, I can't organize thoughts. And I find that, so I think just taking and my sleep schedule is going to be rubbish because of my daughter's condition, but it doesn't stop me taking 5 minutes in the day to kind of reset that. And maybe not go to sleep, but just stop and go, okay, no technology, no TV on, just sit for 5 minutes and organise what's going on in your head.
I'm glad you said that, because you're back here, you're training, working blooming hard. But then you said, I almost went out and trained again. And sometimes we've got to listen to our bodies. And there's times when you think, I've got to push through this. I'm not feeling the mood. It's wet outside. It's cold. I've got to go. But other times, and this is where a lot of coaches get it wrong, rest is so important to your physical and your mental well-being. We need to have a rest. That's why we have rounds in boxing. You have a 2 or 3 minute round and a minute off, because you need to recover. If you're just standing there punching each other until one falls over, that's where the serious injuries come. Yeah. And I think rest, therapy, and I think a lot of times we only rest when we can't do any more, which is great in some ways. When I'm training in that session, I leave it all in the room. However, I've got to listen. Once that session is over, I go home, I put the right food in, and I rest. But how many times I will only go to a therapist when I'm broken? I only go to a physio once my hamstring is fully ripped. Start listening to those little niggles of your body and mind, and listen to yourself. Do I need to rest now? Do I need to go and have a physio? Do I need to go and see a therapist? Because often all the signs are there. We just don't pay attention to them.
Yeah, I think it's recognising them as well, because that's one thing I've learned over my training journey is sometimes your head just don't want to train, and it's nothing to do with being overtired or under-rested. It's just your brain's trying to convince you that training is not a good idea at that point. And after years of doing it, years of training, just now I'm starting to realise the two difference. Okay, I am tired now. It's not that I just don't feel like going. I am naturally tired. I do need to take a rest.
Because sometimes, this vile weather in the UK, and it's cold and it's wet, you've had a hard day, and you're thinking, do I really want to go out at 7 o'clock? It's dark, it's cold, it's warm in here. But when you get there, it feels great. Yeah. That's the difference to when you go in, no, I've done too much as it is today. I haven't had a good night's sleep. I am feeling poorly. My shoulder has gone. I remember someone saying to us ages ago, there's being busy and there's being constructive. And that's the same for you people who are doing your exams and things. Sometimes when you're not in the frame of mind and you're just reading the same book over and over and over, it's not going in. Sometimes that's the time to go, no, not now. Now's the time where I'm going to play a bit of FIFA, I'm going to watch TV, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to go to the gym, whatever it is. And when I'm feeling a bit clearer minded, I'll pick it up, because then when I'm ready, the knowledge, the information will go in.
But I think as well, on that note, you've got to address the culture of trying through everything. Because how many people who have boxed, who have trained, and the coaches and themselves will go, oh, it's only a cold, just crack on with it and train through, or oh, you're tired, you're sore, just train through. But actually, you're right. You just got to listen to what you think's right. So get rid of the culture that taking a break is wrong to do.
Yeah, and listen to yourself. Like sometimes, with the boxing analogy, I break my hands so I can still go and work on footwork. Staying active, this is just a hand injury. You know, I'm just saying that sometimes you can work on skills around injury, and there's sometimes where you think, no, this ain't right at this time. Because sometimes we push too hard and we forget why we're pushing at all. It stops being fun, it stops being enjoyable.
Yeah.
The injuries outweigh the benefits. And before you know it, I've packed it in, and then there's another spiral.
Yeah.
My fifth one, and this is always one of the things, being kind. Being kind. And I see so much of this, and maybe you relate to it, and you go, well, I don't want being blooming kind, because I'm so kind and I give so much to other people, and they don't appreciate it bloody anyway. And they don't change being kind. Maybe that person is just what they are, ungrateful. But by you not being kind, it will stop someone else from being kind. But then we've also got to be kind to ourselves. And all of this that we've talked about today is being kind to ourselves. We've got to treat ourselves how we treat someone else. My friend said to me, treat someone how you treat your pet. And I said, what do you mean? He went, when your cat needs feeding, you feed it. How many times do you go about your breakfast and your dinner? When your cat's poorly, you take it to the vet. How many times do you just battle through it? When it needs love, you give it love. And it's these simple things that we neglect with ourselves, whether it's self-worth, whether it's self-time, whether it's self-credit. But we've got to treat ourselves kinder, treat those around us kind, but treat ourselves kind. And kindness is a great gift that we give someone. So don't give up on being kind, because those around you don't appreciate it.
My fifth is nutrition. The big key to my own mental health is making sure I'm eating right, but also making sure I have treats. Because, as we've said before, I'm training to box now. So obviously I've got to lose weight and be at the right weight to do it. But there's no good me every single day being completely madly strict with myself, because eventually I'll just fall off the cliff and binge. So you eat right the majority of the time, but make sure you also have a treat, because ultimately he wants to go around eating boring food constantly, and it's no good for you. And also water is a massive, if you're dehydrated, you'll suffer bad mental health. You know, you definitely, you need to be clear of mind and focused, and being dehydrated definitely doesn't lead to that.
And how many people we've had in here, and I go, I want to, you know, okay, I smoke, I drink, I have kebabs. And I went, great, never mind, yeah. I'm going to pack it all in tomorrow. I went, why are we packing everything in straight away? Some people have to do that. They have to go cold turkey. Other people, more you do, less you'll want to do it. And if you are doing it, it's not the end of the world. When you start competing, you've got to make weight. Lee, you're boxing on Saturday. Now we cut the treats out. But when you're denying yourself of the things that might give you a bit of pleasure, all year round, I am never, ever going to have another takeaway. I'm never going to try. And you go, well, why? Because what we do then, we start resenting the thing that was supposed to be fun. Some people have got to do that because that's their mental get up. You know, we're not all the same. But others, you think, you know what, Kev, I had a bit of a skinful, and did you enjoy yourself? Yeah, or we went out for a meal and I had chicken lettuce, but we had a lovely ice cream. Great. Because why deny things that make us happy when we haven't got to?
Yeah.
If I am eating well and you have a cheat meal, doesn't mean you've got to have a cheat day, a cheat weekend, a cheat, you know what I mean? Enjoy things for what they are. Doesn't mean you've got to be a glutton.
Yeah, and I'd get away from that cheat meal idea. Ultimately, it's just a meal that you enjoy that has more calories than what you may have ate during the week. By calling it a cheat meal, you know, it's a negative thought in your head. I'm cheating at something, but you're not cheating. You're not cheating. All you're doing is having a meal that's got more calories in, which is beneficial to your mental health after you've gone that week of eating well.
Once again, how we talk to ourselves. Another big thing, you know, I'm going to go for bloody 6 here. Like,
Oh,
you know.
my God. I'll give
it.
you the idea now. We'll be at about 100 by the time this is finished.
But it's that how we talk to ourselves. And like, a bit handles like this, what we're talking about, how our eternal monologue is going on. You've got to lose weight. You've got to pack the booze in. You've got to go to the gym. You've got to study. You've got to be... And we're telling ourselves off. You're a cheater. You're having a cheat meal. You shouldn't have that ice cream. You've had that takeaway. And we're telling ourselves off. Where should we be going? Who cares? You know what I mean? I'm doing a bloody good job here.
Yeah.
I'm going to the gym, and when I've been to the gym, I'm enjoying myself. Or I can't go tomorrow. The dog's got to go to the vet. So I can't go. I've got a job interview. But I went yesterday. You know, I'll go on Friday. It's being kind to ourselves. Do what we can when we can, and that comes out to charity and giving. Give what you can, and don't feel guilty that you're not giving everything. Why should I feel guilty? Oh my goodness! How about those homeless? Well, I'll give them my house. I'll give them all my wages. Give what you can, but you have the right to have nice things. You have the right to be happy and comfortable. Do what you can when you can, and don't be guilty that you're not giving everything.
I think it's going back as well, isn't it? That again, just a diet as the analogy really is. If you've ate well all week and then have a meal on a weekend that you enjoyed more, there's more calories in it, whatever you have on the one day, don't throw the rest that week away by going, well, I've spoilt it now and had that one meal, so I might as well now just give up. No, just remember you've just done the last 6 days absolutely perfect. Focus on that and then get back on the wagon the next day.
But I think that's where a lot of us go out there. I'll say, and you throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Once you have slipped, you feel, well, that's it. It's all gone now.
Yeah.
I had a beer on the weekend. That's it. Every night, 10 points. Or I've had a cigarette. I'm going to be back on 40 a day. Just go, it's happened. Did you enjoy it? It was all right. And a lot of the time, it's the thought of it that's better than actually doing it.
Yeah.
So once you've had it, you've had that itch. Go, all right then. I said the way now. Let's see how the rest of the day goes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Definitely.
Be kind to yourselves. And I think that sometimes is the hardest thing to do. And it's plastered everywhere, self-care. Love yourself. And if it was that easy, we'd all be doing it. And I think by loving yourself doesn't mean you're arrogant. And I think that's the other thing, that we don't want to have this perception of, oh, check him out, check her out, loves herself, bloody hell. There's nothing wrong with loving yourself and being at peace with yourself, because the journey that I'm still on, I actually like Kev Dillon at this period of time, and that's a great way to be.
Someone does then.
Someone does, yeah. Law of averages, someone's got to. But more we can try and do these things, and this is back to my original one, gratitude. It's easy to be grateful when we're winning. But what we've got to remember is these things, and everything's like a practice, like doing a press-up. If I can practice doing press-ups, they become easier to do, like with any exercise out there. If I practice when I'm strong, I'm fit, I'm healthy, then I will have the strength to at least do one when I'm flued up. So get these into habits now. And even on your worstest of worst days, you survived it because you're still here listening to this. And that's what we've got to remember. We got through it. If that's as bad as it can get and I can survive it, then I can learn from it, because we can overcome so much. So even now, sit there and just think, if you're listening to this, you've got a device so you can listen to it. If you can hear it, you've got hearing. And remind yourself of these, they seem simple things, but in all actuality, they're miracles. They're not to be taken lightly. So just remind yourself of these wonderful things that we do have, even in your darkest days.
I think that's our 6, 7, whatever number we're on.
Yeah.
But actually, what I want to mention while we're on air, we mentioned it a few weeks ago on the radio that West Midlands Safari Park, we're going to start charging carers to come in. And they've overturned that as of today. That's overturned. It's still free for carers to go into West Midlands Safari Park, which is fantastic news. It's a shame that it had to take a lot of TV interviews from various people and a lot of us talking on the radio and a lot of people communicating it to them to make them realise how important it was and how important the carer's role is. And I think going forward, if West Midlands Safari Park ever have any other ideas like this, then make sure they get the community involved before they do anything.
And change will only happen if we make it happen by having conversations and kicking up a fuss. That is the only way the change will happen. So, it's a great place. Go and enjoy it. And I'm glad they've seen the errors of the ways, because I've had some great times there. I know you have. And this is what we've got to do. And maybe people have got to be a bit more, once again, caring. Think, without these people, other people can't enjoy their day. They're not going, it's like a guide dog doesn't want to go there without calling carers guide dogs. But, it's without the guide dog, you can't go. Without someone helping
the wheelchair, you can't go.
Without someone push, you know what I mean? They're going to make the day better for that individual, for the family, whoever it is, carers or, the angels that walk on this planet. So, let's help these people instead of hinder these people. Well, Lee, this Thursday we've got on Marcus Leonard, who's coming on to our radio on Black Country Extra to talk about mental health and NHS. I can't give too much away in case he changes his mind. And then next Tuesday we've got Alice coming on from Ripple, Suicide Prevention. And then on the 10th of February, make sure you tune in to Black Country Radio, where we'll be going live, chewing the fat about everything mental health, disability and life.
And that is on FM, DBA and online. So you'll be able to catch us whether you're in the car, whether you're sitting at a computer, wherever you are, you'll be able to catch us on that one.
So, got any quotes or sayings, Paul?
Of course not.
Of course not. Well, I'm going to say an old favourite. If you haven't got anything kind to say, don't say nothing at all. So until we see each other next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Ta-ra a bit. Listen. And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit. Listen.